but for next time, yeah.
Good evening and welcome to the special presentations of the City of Moreno Valley tonight on March 6th. We have two presentations on Business Spotlight. The first one is Menchie's Frozen Yogurt, and Mayor Gutierrez will present the Certificate of Recognition and DVD to Sanjay and Mona Patel, owners of Menchie's Frozen Yogurt. Can you please play the DVD?
At Menchie's, you're greeted by smiling faces. Choose any of our extraordinary flavors and become a mix master. Yum! Just add any of our tasty toppings to your flavor mix. Then just weigh and pay. And be sure to try our exclusive pineapple Dole Whip. Menchie's, we make you smile.
Awesome. If I could have the owners of Menchie's come up, please. And I just wanted to say a few words here about Menchie's Frozen Yogurt. It's a family-oriented international corporation that spans from the United Kingdom all the way to the United States with over 540 locations. Owners Sanjay and Mona Patel chose to move to Moreno Valley 2 years ago due to the growing development and idea of opening a business in an area they would now call their forever home. Menchie's Frozen Yogurt is located at 27130 Eucalyptus Avenue, and I believe it's in the Target shopping center on the East End. Offers an assortment of Dole Whip that is only available at Disneyland and Menchie's. Mr. and Mrs. Patel wanted a business that would provide a family atmosphere and cater to the growing community, as they believe a family that sits together and eats together also stays together. At Menchie's, customers can expect consistency and amazing quality every time, since the products are delivered directly from the local dairy farms. Menchie's Frozen Yogurt features 2 new flavors every month to keep their selection fresh and exciting. Today we recognize Menchie's Frozen Yogurt with this video that we have here, and we also have this beautiful certificate as well from our office, and also the flash drive to the video to post on your social media and everything. So I'd like to hand this to you, and also ask if you'd like to say a few words about Menchie's. Yeah.
I just wanted to introduce that Menchie's is an American frozen yogurt. It was born in 2007, and the headquarters is in the Encino. And it is not only in United States, but all over the world. You can find in Australia, Dubai, India, everywhere. And the goal of our CEO, that's Amit Kanberger, is to make the Menchie's worldwide. And we are not selling the yogurt, but we are selling the smile. The only thing over here we wanted our Menchie's is that a family which eats together, plays together, prays together, always stays together. That is our main motto of the Menchie's, to bring the family and community together. Thank you.
We'll take a picture right here.
Thank you. Okay. Let's give Menchie's another hand of applause. Thank you. Our next business is One Love Barbershop. Council Member Cabrera will speak and present the Certificate of Recognition, the DVD, to Brian Greenfield, owner of One Love Barbershop.
Good evening, everyone. Today we are recognizing One Love Barbershop, which is a family-friendly business that encourages group conversations and debates between both customers, barbers, and even those waiting in the lobby area. Owner Mr. Brian Greenland wanted to establish a business that not only honored his Jamaican roots, but also had an inclusive atmosphere where everyone would feel free to express themselves verbally and through haircuts. The environment is a relaxed space with sports memorabilia that was designed to make everyone that enters feel welcome. Brian opened One Love Barbershop about 3 years ago, located at 15952 Paris Boulevard. Brian is a longtime resident of Moreno Valley and is very excited to put his 25 years of experience to use in his community. One Love Barbershop offers services such as fades, haircuts, beard grooming, designs, tapers, and custom cuts for all ages. Brian and his barbers pride themselves on their excellent customer service and years of experience. Today, we recognize One Love Barbershop with this business spotlight video. Please roll the video.
At One Love, we're more than an outstanding barbershop. We're a community where everyone knows each other, just like at an old school barbershop. You'll definitely feel the love on your first visit. But One Love isn't just about great atmosphere. Our barbers have decades of experience. When you come in, you'll get a cut you love. One Love Barbershop, where the conversations are just as good as our cuts.
And yeah, Mr. Greenland, if you can please join me up here. I believe you're with family as well. When we take the picture in just a second, I would like them to, if you'd like to join them up here. And I do have the certificate right over here. And on behalf of the city of Moreno Valley, we present to you the certificate for your barbershop, and we wish you success and prosperity here in our city. And then here is a flash drive that has the files so you can share it on Facebook and YouTube and share it with the whole world. So once again, congratulations. And would you like to say a couple of words?
I just want to say thank the city of Moreno Valley. I just want to be a part of the growth. I see it. I've been in the city for like years, and I see it growing, especially on the south side. Thank you. Thank you again.
Of course.
Thank you.
Would you like to take a picture here? We could just take a quick picture.
Oh, and I think they wanted a photo.
Oh, that's right, yeah. And you want to take a picture with the rest of the family? Did you want to come out in the picture too? No? No? Okay.
Thank you, Menchie's Frozen Yogurt and One Love Barbershop. That concludes our special presentations for tonight. The regular council meeting will resume at 6:00 p.m.
Good evening and welcome to the joint meeting of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley Community Services District, City Successor Agency for the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Moreno Valley Housing Authority, and the Board of Library Trustees. The City Council receives a separate stipend for CSD meetings. I now call this meeting to order on March 6, 2018 at 6:03 p.m. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Frank Wright. Please remain standing for the invocation, which will be given by the Honorable Venerable.
Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස සබ්බ පාපස්ස අකරණං කුසලස්ස උපසම්පදා සචිත්ත පරියෝදපනං Etang buddhana sasanang. Good evening. The chanting what I use in Pali, I would like to share the meaning with you. Mayor, members, and ladies and gentlemen. The meaning is Sabba papasa akaranan. Don't do any evil. Kusalassa upasampada. Develop your wholesomeness. Sachitta pariyodapanam. We have to control our mind. Etang buddhana sasanang. This is the teachings of the old Buddhas. Therefore, we born to this world as a human beings. Our duty is to develop our humanity. Developing humanity, we can develop our inner peace. Developing inner peace, we can share peace with others, neighbors, city, state, country. Finally, we can share with the universe. Thank you very much.
You may be seated. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes, sir, Mayor.
Wait, who?
Yes, sir, Mayor.
Oh, okay.
Councilmember Gaiba?
Councilmember Gaiba, are you still on the line? Okay.
Councilmember Marquez?
Here.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca?
Here.
Mayor Gutierrez?
Present. We'll go ahead and do staff introductions, please, and then we'll maybe if we can have the media team maybe try to reach out to him. All right, but we'll go ahead and continue the meeting. So, Madam Clerk, staff introductions.
Ad hoc Esnades, City Clerk?
Marshall Ironman, Chief Financial Officer, City Treasurer.
Martin Kozanowicz, City Attorney.
Tom DeSantis, City Manager.
Alan Brock, Assistant City Manager.
Mike Lee, Economic Development Director.
Rick Sanzamar, Acting Community Development Director.
David Kurlowitz, Chief of Police.
Abdul Ahmed, Fire Chief.
Kathleen Sanchez, Director of Human Resources.
Mel Alonzo, Parks and Community Services.
Michael Wolf, Director of Public Works, City Engineer.
Thank you, staff. The city is currently offering, just to let everyone know, Spanish translation services. So if anyone is interested in this feature, the devices can be checked out in the back of the room. Before we hear public comments, I ask and encourage everyone to remain respectful towards each other, especially when we have
I did not get into the roll call, by the way.
Oh, okay. Do you hear us? Okay, so Councilmember Gaiba's back? Okay. All right. Councilmember Gaiba, do you hear us? Okay. So I embrace and support the First Amendment right to free speech, including everyone's right to speak at this meeting and share his or
I'm
her
not hearing
views
anything.
about issues concerning our city. You can't hear it? Okay. Finally, I ask that speakers bear in mind that comments are limited to 3 minutes for each speaker and that you refrain from duplicating comments already made by others. Public comments on matters on the agenda will be taken up as the item is called for business between staff's report and city council deliberation. Those wishing to speak on any subject not on the agenda under the jurisdiction of the city council may speak now. Those wishing to speak should complete and submit a blue speaker slip to the bailiff. There's a 3-minute time limit per person. All remarks and questions shall be addressed to the presiding officer or to the city council. The city clerk and myself will call 3 names at a time. Please move to the front of the room when you hear your name called. In order to preserve the meeting decorum, council and staff will not respond during public comments. Any council comments or questions to staff will be addressed during the council closing comments or at the city manager's report. City clerk, do we have how many speakers do we have tonight?
5 so far.
Okay, go ahead and go ahead and say the 3 names.
Daryl Terrell, Bob Palomares, Kendrick Rivas.
Hi, my name is Daryl Terrell. I live here in Moreno Valley. On December 9th, 2014 and January 27, 2015, I spoke to you about how we together can make our community more competitive in recruiting high-growth industries like IT, skilled trades, advanced manufacturing, logistics, healthcare, and STEM. Not all of those careers, including half of STEM, which pays well and provides economic mobility, requires a 4-year degree. But you do need an education beyond high school or specialized training. While 50.2% of our residents, 25 years older, have a high school education or less, only 73.2% don't have a college or advanced degrees, according to the 2016 American Community Survey. You know, 30 or 40 years ago, you could work in the industry until retirement with a high school education or less that paid your bills and supported your family. However, times are different. Advances in technology have made many of those jobs obsolete or require some specialized training. There simply aren't as many jobs today that you can support a family with just a high school education or less, or even fewer without a college degree or specialized training. That's why we need to attract more industries with careers with economic mobility, not only just jobs. That's our biggest challenge as I see it. How do we then, when faced with high school education or less as our highest education attainment, well, you attract in attracting those high growth industries. You demonstrate to that community that we are able and willing to create a highly skilled workforce that can meet their needs. So we start by forming the Moreno Valley High Growth Industry Collaboration, comprised of our county, our high growth industries, education, labor communities that will leverage resources and share costs in creating pathways for you that would flow directly into existing and future careers openings. This is how it would work. When a high growth industry will come into our community, the collaboration will create a learn and earn hybrid training apprenticeship program for that specific position. You will earn an hourly wage as you attend classes, and you will work part-time in a facility, learning skills for that position. When you finish that program, you'll receive a certificate and a guaranteed full-time job that you trained for. College isn't for everyone, but it doesn't mean that you have to live in a lifetime of poverty and your American dream is out of reach. That's what my proposed Raising the Bar initiative that I have right here, which I submitted into the public record at the March 10th, 2015, February 2nd, 2016, tonight, is all about. You learn and earn.
Thank you. Okay, next speaker is Bob Palomares.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and staff. It's pretty good what Daryl said. Interesting. I'm probably the only one, or maybe the last one to know this about the city's finalist in the national competition. Out of 325 or so cities that put in applications, we're number 35 in that 35 group. And for all of the goodness that the mayor has brought along with the other council members. And former Mayor Bloomberg says that Moreno Valley's plan would provide incentives for working adults to pursue education and technical training while providing for their families. The release stated the community where they have no training beyond high school. So, Mayor, you have been doing a fantastic job. You've shown great leadership skills. You and Mayor Pro Tem Baca and Cabrera, councilmen of the 4th District, and the staff has shown great professional guidance. I can't remember a time when so much was accomplished in such a small period of time. You know, so that's a tribute to you and the other council members that are involved, and staff, of course, because without them, you know, nothing gets done. So this is a great thing for the city of Moreno Valley. And, you know, Mayor, you got the helping the homeless out there, so that's another thing that's, you know, not spoken about very much, but I hear it's going pretty good. And I just got a little quote from Gandhi, and this kind of reminded me of you, Mayor, because it says that we should be judged by how we treat the most vulnerable among us. And when you implemented that and started it, I said, that's our mayor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bob, for the kind words. Thank you. Next speaker is Kendrick Rivas, followed by Martin Cabrera Jr. and Roy Bleckard.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Good evening, staff, and good evening, people watching. I would like to ask the council, can you please post the agenda back 12 days and please untable the decision to add more council members to the council? And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Martin Cabrera Jr. and Roy Bleckard and Rafael Brugueras.
Good evening. Hope everyone's feeling good tonight. So the reason why I'm here today is to talk about health. Health, a lot of people don't really consider health political, but it's very political. And I really like what Bob said, the Gandhi quote. And another Gandhi quote is, be the change you want to see. Gandhi also said that. And health is extremely important, not just physical health, but also mental health, which is affected by what we eat. And did you guys know that out of every 3 Americans, one of them is either pre-diabetic or diabetic? So that means is out of 3 of you that are up there, one of you guys is either pre-diabetic or already has diabetes. Just putting that out there. And so the reason why I said that is because chronic diseases affect half of Americans. Among them are dementia, autoimmune disease, heart disease, diabetes, like I just mentioned, cancer, neurological problems, depression, ADD, allergies, reflux, irritable bowel syndrome, thyroid disorder, hormonal and menstrual problems, skin problems like eczema, psoriasis, and acne. And so why is that important? That is important because Medicaid and Medicare are the single biggest drain on our federal budget, on our government federal budget, next to Social Security. And so the annual spending on healthcare in 2016 was $3.5 trillion, or $10,345 per person. And so 80% of that goes towards ongoing treatment of chronic lifestyle diseases that are preventable and reversible through food, which is another form of medicine. Another thing is studies that are put into public about food. If the study is paid for by a food company, it is 8 times more likely to turn positive findings for the company's product. So behind the monopoly and the cash flow that goes into this is all business. This is politics, the business behind this. And half of these government policies go towards food. The food policies, they're run by the government. And another thing that it makes me so angry. Like, in food, school food, our pizza is under a vegetable just because it's a tomato paste. How much other chemicals and pesticides are in there? And on top of that, the milk that we give at the school contains the same amount of sugar as Pepsi and Coca-Cola. And that contributes to ADD, behavior. And there was another study that in prison, they changed their diets and the riots went down. The correlation of the riots went down just by changing their diet, okay? And on top of that too, going back to the studies paid for, if the National Dairy Council funds studies on milk, then milk is likely to be found beneficial when half of most Americans are probably lactose intolerant.
Thank you,
Okay.
Martin.
Thank you. You guys have a great night.
Thank you. We have Roy Blecker, Rafael Brugueras, and Natalie Sanchez.
Was sad to hear that Planning Commissioner Brian Lowell resigned his seat and was leaving our community after being here and living most of his life for decades in this community. He represented himself very well as a citizen, and he represented himself very well as a planning commissioner of Moreno Valley. I wish him much success in the future. That will segue me into this because now you have another opportunity to look at the Planning Commission. Again, my recommendation, at least cut it down to 5. We don't have that many projects coming in. We don't have that many in the foreseeable future. I think now's the time to start and lead again with the Planning Commission of consolidating our commissions and boards to reflect the attitude that we have in this community at this time. I want to bring up the general plan amendment. It's my understanding a year ago we passed the budget for it. I put a proposal almost a year ago to put it on the fast track and do it on the lines of the Mill Creek model, how we can get it done quickly. I think we need to put economic development in this community, a general plan amendment, reshaping with the changes we made and reshaping it. We can put in place a plan that will attract residents to this community, will attract business to this community, but if we sit on our hands, it won't happen. I hope it happens, and I hope it happens quick. I want to address my bud Daryl's comments on education, and I invite him down to Moreno Valley Unified School District because I have been preaching a lot of the same things. We can, I think, have kids career and college ready by 16 years old if we think progressively and we think forward. It's something that needs to be done because the number one determinant in your community of quality of life is the quality of your school district. And Moreno Valley Unified School District has been in the bottom for far too long. But there's another thing, Measure A, back in 2005, 6, and 7. LaDonna Jemson was on the committee that recommended that for. There's somebody up on there on the dais that voted against that. And it was a bad policy because the then Attorney General and the governor said that was an illegal bond deal that the Moreno Valley Unified School District pulled off. That was his opinion. So let's start back at history. Who was proven right, who was proven wrong when the decision was there and you didn't know what was going to happen in the future. It seems like let's look, and when you're making your decisions, keep that in mind.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, and guests, and our residents. Bob, Roy Blecker made good points tonight. How our city continues to go forward, and it takes leadership. It takes candidates that are listening to the people. Okay. Before 2014, the city didn't have what we have today. If you look around Moreno Valley residents, look at all the big projects that we have in this city. That takes change. That takes men and women with vision who are not afraid to make changes, for the greater good of everyone that lives in this city. We have them on the council. They got voted. They're up there. Baca's up there. The mayor's up there. Even Corrado's up there. I didn't vote for Marcus. I did not do that. Because I know how he is. Okay? And I know the people that put him there. That's why I didn't vote for him. I voted for Lowe. Lowe would have been a better person there. But it's a shame to hear that he resigned for the planning commission, because he was an excellent person for our city. He had vision. That's what we need on the council and from our mayor, is vision. This is why people come to our city who haven't been here for a long time, see brand new things. You have to fight for those things, Moreno Valley residents. They're not going to come to you. There are people here in this city that don't want growth, or always suing us. Or the other pretty one that come in and say, I've been here for a long time, and it's delay, delay, delay. That is their way of getting us to do nothing. We have a talented staff that pulls it off every time for us so we can move forward. We cannot allow 2018 in the city of Moreno Valley to go backwards. You're going to see me out there fighting for my candidates. These are people that think alike, like a lot of us. We want progress. It's a shame they're trying to recall Baca when she's the woman that got voted by her district to do the right thing. It's a shame if they pull it off. Again, they're lies. These are the same people that lied the first time. These are the same people are lying again. They found a way how to get people off the diocese. Recall them and put their own, and you watch what happened in 2016 and 2015. We had Jepson and we had Price with the nose. We got Guyba and we got Marquez. We need to end that.
Next speaker is Natalie Sanchez, followed by Luis Palomares.
Good evening, everybody. I'm new. I don't have a speech prepared, but I do have questions. I'm a citizen here, and I've lived here for a couple years. My concern is the traffic safety with the schools and the safety with the schools. I have made phone calls with the district. I have made, with the schools, with the district, with the public safety inside the district, with the police department, and now within the city as well. I'm trying to hold people accountable. I want to know why it is not safe for our children to get onto their school campus. So how can I ensure, or how can we know as parents that our children are actually safe on the campus if they can't even get safely to the campus? My second concern with you guys is also the cost of rents. And what are you guys doing? I feel that our rent prices are going up too high. I've been in that industry, and I disagree with the rent increases. We are not a community that is fit for the pricing that is going with the rent. And I don't think you guys are holding the owners accountable on these properties and ensuring that they are doing everything to code. On my way here, seeing a property, it's in really poor shape. And I know that property personally because I used to manage it. And I'm deeply concerned about both these issues, and I would like answers before coming up here making demands.
Thank you, Natalie. If you could just leave your information, your phone number, with our city clerk right here, and then we'll definitely reach out to you, okay, with those issues. Okay, thank you. And thank you for coming tonight. Thank you. So if you could just leave your name and just your phone number, and then we'll reach out to you. Okay. Okay. And I just wanted to clarify, it was you said traffic congestion and traffic safety? Both? Okay, with the schools. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we'll be in contact with you, okay? Thank you. Okay.
Louise Palomares, community activist here in Moreno Valley. Okay, I wanted to address the council about, everything, everything Bob, Raphael, and the other speaker, I forget, I'm just tired today. I agree with them because it's also true. These are things that are going on in our community. We have taken the city along with the staff into the 21st century. It looks like finally, instead of saying in the 19th century. But here they go with their line recalls again. Come on, they set the city back. I don't know how many dollars, millions probably, with all the investigations and all the projects we could have had and everything else that could have already been being built here. And you were all involved with those recalls. Come on, Marcus, let's get real. You, Denise Fleming, and Price, and your friend LaDonna Jensen, you're still doing it. You're still doing it. You're still involved. It's so sad. We have to go this route again. You know, it stops everything. You throw monkey wrenches. And we know these people, they ran. LaDonna Jensen ran at least 3 times for that council seat. Never got in there, but she had to come in through the back door. Like the political, I'll just leave it blank that she is. Through the back door again. And so she's trying that one again, that dirty trick, lying about Mrs. Baca. Why does she have to do things wrong? Why does she have to go that route? Why don't she just run for the seat like she did? The last time when Ms. Baca ran for the seat 2 times, and she wanted district-wide in her district. Now LaDonna's trying to get her foot back in there on a recall. It's easy to come and get a seat on a recall. Do it the right way. And who would want to support her? You know, who would want to support these people when all they are is a terrorist, the obstructionists of Moreno Valley? They don't want nothing to come here. Like I said, if God came down and built it, they would be against it. Like I said, they want to keep us in the desert another 40 years. Like I said, they can go live in Sun City and retire if they want to. Why did they build these 5-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom houses, 2-story houses, so we can, you know, just live in them by ourselves with no family? I mean, what's the logic there? These people are mentally, they have some issues. That's all I got to say. And then they, you know, they throw God into the mix all the time. You know, LaDonna's over there at her church. I forget the name of it. But come on. How do you do that? Where's the hypocrisy? Like the Pharisee and the scribe, she's like Mother Teresa over there, but she's lying about Mrs. Baca again. And she's all involved in this recall, and I don't care what she says to clean it up. It's true. It's true. Doesn't she stop? Run for the seat in 3 years, LaDonna. Do it the right way. Can you do things the right way? Another thing, as far as they were talking about, Martin was talking about the health and all that. Wow, hey, if we stuck to what the Bible says, we could eat right, but we don't. That's the hard part. You know, I consider him a hero, Gandhi. I consider, you know, they're my people. I love these men, Muhammad Ali.
Thank you.
And also
Thank you, Luis.
Nelson Mandela.
Thank you.
They're great people.
Okay, Madam Clerk, any more?
No more speakers.
Okay. All right, would any council members like to make the reports and comments at this time? No? Okay, we are now going to move to our joint consent calendar, sections A through D. All items listed under the consent calendar, sections A, B, C, and D, are considered to be routine and non-controversial. Does any council member wish to pull or discuss any item?
I would like to pull A13 and A15 just for discussions and questions.
Okay, you said it was A13?
A13 and 15.
A13 and A15. Okay. And then, Madam Clerk, I saw here that you have some comments that you'd like to make.
Yes, Mayor. The draft ordinance 2018 attachment 1 labeled A11A in item A11 should be deleted and not considered. The ordinance that
Bob,
is
are you
being
there?
proposed by staff for introduction is the draft MFF ordinance, which is attachment 4 in the staff report and labeled A.11.D.
Okay, so the item pulled that you want is MFF?
Ordinance 2018.
Okay,
The one that's being voted on is MFF.
yes. Okay, and it's called Ordinance 2018 MFF?
Draft MFF.
City Attorney?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. The item, the exhibit that is called Ordinance 2018 should be disregarded. Just ignore that. The draft MFF ordinance is the one that is under your consideration.
Okay, so the draft, okay. Okay. Okay, thank you, City Clerk, and thank you, City
Where are we,
Attorney.
Bob? I don't even know where we are on the agenda.
We're on the consent calendar. Okay. A13, let's go ahead and go with Public Works. Michael? Or just a discussion, but let me ask Councilor Carrera, do you have a question on this one, or?
If you can just share a little bit more information regarding, the map that's in the agenda packet and the sidewalks that we're going to be, I guess, constructing, and the result of that, how it's going to be able to connect more people and allow kids to get to school safer.
Certainly. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. So this is a active transportation grant funds. This is used to be referred to as Safe Routes to Schools. They've combined it all together. So this is the ability for us to go out and get funds to do typically projects like this, which are gap closures. We call these gap closures, sidewalk gap closures, where we have areas that are adjacent to or through or near schools or are designated as routes to schools. And we're identifying places that aren't completely built out. And so what we have here is the opportunity to do the ADA upgrades requirement for the ramps, the curb ramps at the intersections. We're also able to close the gap closures, meaning infill of the sidewalks. So we're going to put together, there are 5 locations on this round. The map is attached to the staff report. So these are areas adjacent to elementary schools, and then we go after those grants and we get competitive process to get those. So these will all be sidewalk gap closures. The other benefit from this is we'll also be able to get curb and gutter, drainage, so we get some other advantages from the improvements, but the majority of the requirement is to make sure that we're providing a walkable, rideable, pedestrian-friendly, safe routes to school.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. And I think another important point to make here is that this is grant funded. This is federally funded, so none of this money is coming out of the general fund. So thank you for sharing that information, and thank you for staff for going after these grants and getting the grants so we can do things like this.
Okay, we have A15. Do you just want a brief report on that one?
Yes, if Public Works can share, I think there was a list of 5 or 6 different street sections in the staff report. If you can just briefly go over that, for example, if Cactus is going to require a complete repaving or just grind and overlay, if you can just go over that real quick, please.
Sure, thank you for the question. So the improvements that we're going to be doing, the ones that were directed from council, were to look at Ontario Street. So these are our major thoroughfares throughout the city. The 5 locations that we've identified, these are going to be places where we're going to have to do what's called a grind overlay or grind inlay, depending on what engineer you talk to. But so this will be a removal of a portion of the asphalt. The asphalt comes in a section. We'll remove the worst part, which is the top part. Typically, this will be a 2-inch grind or removal. And then we'll go ahead and put back in that same amount. Some places we may even put a mat, which is called, the manufacturer's name is a Petromat, to strengthen that section. But so these are going to be 5 locations that we're going to do. It's not slurry. It's not micro paving. It's grinding out and laying in a new section. With the one exception, we actually added, we want to do a bid alternate for location on Alessandro. Since we're going to be already there doing the grind overlay, there's an opportunity for us to get an economy of scale, and we'll do a little bit of slurry if that's meets within the dollar amount that was approved by council. So all these will be grind overlay.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. And I'm just glad to see, and thank you for staff for helping us to get that 1.2 million from our general fund. Thank you to Marshall and your entire team and everyone who works to build up our reserves, because of that, we can do things like this. We can invest into our infrastructure and fix these streets that are just falling apart. So thank you again to staff.
Comment?
Okay, can you hear us, Councilmember Gaiba?
Off and on, but yeah, I am here. I have been here from the beginning, and I haven't had a chance really to chime in too much.
Okay.
So I want to ask a question just real quick.
Sure.
Since I haven't had a chance to speak with any of you about the extra streets like I asked at the one meeting, may I ask, of all these new ones, these specified road segments we repaired, how many of what districts are those in?
And so actually, I don't know what districts they're in. We didn't do them by districts. I believe that all of them are south of the 60. So we looked at the PCI, the Payment Condition Index. That was the big driving factor why these were selected, plus a couple other criteria. We looked at the ADT, which is the average daily traffic. So roads that have high volume of traffic, roads that have low PCI. We also looked at places that had a lot of routine maintenance costs. So we're spending a lot of money on doing pothole repairs. And so those are the reasons, or those are the factors that we use to select these areas. So I'm not exactly sure which districts these are in, but these are the ones that we identified through that process. Plus, we also were able to identify long-term complaints, meaning we keep a list of long-term complaints, so that was also a factor that was used in this.
I've got the candidate streets for slurry seal for the entire city from when Ahmad Ansari was here. And it has a lot of concerns to the north of the 60 freeway, but I haven't seen a whole lot done on that. Can you explain why?
Unfortunately, Councilmember, I have not seen that map. You indicated it's a slurry seal, and so maybe it's an indication that what we're talking about tonight is a rehab, which is not a slurry seal project. It's a structural pavement upgrade. So maybe that's the difference between what you're looking at and what we have here. So I haven't seen the map, so I apologize. I don't have a good response to that.
I know we started working on this with Ahmad several years ago to go over this. And I think on one of the last meetings, I asked you to go and evaluate a couple of streets during the meeting up in my district that are very, very destroyed, plus the potholes on the north side on Moreno Beach that just recently you filled potholes, but those roads are in very poor shape. So I was just wondering how you came across with those. When we were doing this with Ahmad, the attitude and the idea was that we would try to make sure that every representative district was taken care of properly. I don't see that here.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council, just for the record, meetings regarding this topic were offered to all members of the council. The public
And
works staff.
you told me I couldn't meet with
Excuse me,
them.
Mr. Gaiba.
You told me I couldn't meet with them.
Mr. Gaiba, I offered to meet
And you
with
told me you could. I didn't want to meet with you. I want to meet with them.
Councilmember Gaiba, okay, let the city manager
You
speak,
did
please.
not allow me.
Thank you, Mayor. In addition to those meetings that were offered and accepted for the council members, the public works staff did carefully look at, as Michael said, the ADT, the PCI, and I think that it's a testament to the technical basis for these recommendations when your public works director says, honestly, I don't know which districts these roads are in. So that should be reassuring to the community that your professional staff is looking at these roads and really trying to do their best to assist motorists throughout the community.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go to public comments. Madam Clerk.
Kendrick Rivas, Rafael Burgueras, and Luis Palomares.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Good evening, staff. I just came to say I support A13 and A15. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Rafael Brugueras, followed by Luis Palomares.
Good evening once again, Mayor, council members, staff, residents, and our guests. I want to welcome Michael, who just got hired on A6 as a building inspector. That means that we're doing well. We need another building inspector. And number 8, we're filling 2 more positions in boards and commission. And I want to talk about 11, the MFF. I wish that last F would be a T. It would be a lot easier to pronounce truck than facility. I wish that was there. But anyway, I have 4 questions that are very important to me and I guess to some of the residents. And I'm going to say them. Number 1, where can a resident or a business call to file a complaint? I didn't see that. Number 2, how many MFF are allowed to be next to each other within 200 feet of a business and a park? Okay. how many MFF allowed to ride around the city in our facilities, okay? And number 4, are the MFF allowed to visit other large businesses and hospitals to do business, okay? Now, you know how ice cream trucks go all over excuse my almost, all over the place, okay? We're talking food trucks, okay? They got permission to run from one park to another, from 8 in the morning to 10 at night. There's no one specific place they gonna stay. I didn't see that on here. They got a license or a temporary permit to run from one place to another, okay? Now, I don't know how many we're allowed to be in the city, but I know the draft is a beautiful one because I was against this in 2015 because there was no direction, there was no plan how to protect the businesses. Now we have 200 feet between the business and where they can be. My thing is, how many of them are allowed to be in that 200 feet? 1, 2, you understand? Because we already got one truck there. Is there going to be another one on the other side of 200 feet of the business? Now we got 2 trucks on each side, you know? So I'm looking out for the business man and woman, the mom and pop that gets up every morning to serve the city of Moreno Valley's residents. Because they also provide for their own family. And I want them to stay in business. I want them to be able to pay the rent, the electricity, and the gas, all that stuff that keeps them in business. And I'm not taking anything away from the entrepreneur, the mom and pop, that started with a little wagon, now owns a truck, a facility. I want them to do business, but I want everything to be fair. And my last thing is, wherever they be, please have a garbage can in front of your truck so we sure that keep the city clean.
Thank you, Rafael. And I just want to make sure that we got your second question. What was the second one?
My second question was, how many MFF are allowed to be next to each other within
The
200 feet
Okay.
of the park?
Okay. That's the one. Okay. Thank you. I just want to make sure that they had enough an opportunity to write it down too. Okay. Thank you, Luis Palomares. And so, Rafael, we'll address those in a moment, okay, towards the end. Yes.
Luis Palomares, community activist. You know, Ironwood, that street comes all the way from when it ends off by the 60, all the way down to the dump. That street has a lot of potholes. It's a mess. That street has needed repairs for the longest time. And I hope we can get that done. And if we had more revenue and tax revenue in the city, we'd be able to do more. So yeah, hopefully we can get some stuff going on here, and sooner than later, so we can have more revenue to do all the things that the city needs. Because the city, there's a lot of needs in the city. And the staff's doing an excellent job, thank God for them. And the council also. But how long could we spread it so thin? We got to get revenue in the city. We got to get jobs. We got to get all these things coming. So we can take care of everything. Not just some things, but everything. And like I said, Mayor, you're doing a darn good job. I mean, you had your doctrines at 28, 29. That tells me a whole lot. You have a vision for the city. I know you have a vision for our streets, too. So hopefully it could get done sooner than later. And I know the staff's working double time just to make things happen. I'm excited, but I know they put on a lot of their hours. So hopefully soon we can get and also, there's another one in Golly, Hemlock. That thing's a mess, too. I've gone through those. My wheel alignment's off two times in the city already. Have to be buying new tires. So hopefully, and I'm not speaking for myself. It's a lot of people in the community that feel this way, and hopefully we can do something in Ironwood pretty soon, because that's a street that's used a lot. And another thing about Ironwood, the lanes are so thin with the new bike lanes that came in. You're about a half a foot away from the car on the side of you. It's terrible. I mean, you almost gotta squeeze in there just to get your car through that. So I don't know if there's any fixing there, but it's really hard now on some parts of Ironwood. So hopefully we can get all this done sooner than later. Like I said, get some revenue in the city, get some jobs, and keep on going and running with the ball, Mayor, because you're doing an excellent job. Cabrera, 22 years old. Wow. You run circles around a couple of these other council members, I could say, and you're not a newbie. You're already in there. We got a couple of newbies sitting in the council still, but you're not. You know, I know somebody once said you were a newbie, but oh no, you run circles around Marcus, in my opinion. Thank you for doing an excellent job, Cabrera.
Okay. Madam Clerk, any more public comments?
No more speakers.
Okay. All right, I entertain a motion by council to approve the consent
So
calendar
moved.
except A11. Okay, a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Baca, second by Councilmember Marquez. Please vote. And just, also, just for the record, we will be discussing the MFF draft ordinance in section F. Okay.
And if you'll turn my microphone on, I can vote.
Okay. Yeah, actually, could you do a voice vote?
I'm going to have to. I don't have that machine in front of me. But yes.
Councilmember Gaiba?
Yes.
Councilmember Marquez?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Motion passes, 5 ayes.
All right, it brings us to item E, which is public hearings, questions or comments about the public hearing matter are limited to 5 minutes per individual, must pertain to the subject under consideration. Those wishing to speak should complete and submit a goldenrod speaker slip to the Sergeant at Arms. We're on item E1, which is public hearing to adopt substantial amendment number 2 to the fiscal year 2017-2018 action plan for CDBG grant funds. And we'll go ahead and have a report of Financial and Management Services, Marshall Ironman.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members. The item this evening looks at our Community Development Block Grant. And as we've closed out projects in prior years, we have recognized some savings. So the item this evening is a public hearing to reallocate those funds to new projects. 2 of those projects that we're looking at is the construction phase for the El Sando Grant traffic signal. If you recall, last year in the CDBG allocation, we funded the design component. This then will complete the construction component on that. The other item here is additional Moreno Valley Library ADA improvements. There is a list of a couple things that we can continue to do, ADA improvements at the library to make it usable for the patrons that visit that location. And so with this will help us reallocate the CDBG funds, help to meet our spend downs and keep us down that path. And with that concludes my report this evening.
Thank you. And if you have any council questions, go ahead and push your button. And then Councilor Gaiba, go ahead. If you have any questions as well, you can go ahead and just ask them. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open the hearing. Any public testimony, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Kendrick Rivas?
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Good evening, staff. I just came to say I support it. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any more public testimony, Madam Clerk?
None.
Okay, hearing closed. Okay, I entertain a motion by council to approve staff recommendations number 2 and 3. Motion by Councilmember Cabrera.
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Baca. Go ahead and do a voice vote.
Councilmember Gaiba?
Yes.
Councilmember Marquez?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca?
Yes.
Mayor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Motion passes, 5 ayes.
Okay, we'll move on to item F, which is the draft MFF ordinance, which is the Mobile Food Facilities Ordinance. I don't know why we didn't just say that, huh? Mobile Food Facilities. Yeah, okay. All right.
That would have been easier.
Mayor, we are bureaucrats. We apologize.
Okay, it's okay. So we'll have a staff report from, I guess, Rick Sansemeyer, Community Development.
Rick Sansemeyer, Acting Community Development Director. Happy to give you a quick presentation. The item before you is in response to The item that came before you back in December. Back in December, we came and we talked to you about mobile food facilities. At the time, we called them food trucks. And during the course of the discussion with the council that evening, there was a series of interests that the council expressed. One of the interests that the council expressed was to come back and readdress the temporary use permits within our municipal code, where we had limitation of 18 days per year in any sort of a shopping center or a commercial center. And the request was to increase the number of days to double that, to 36. So the first amendment to the municipal code that's being recommended in the context of the ordinance before you is a table that's in our municipal code increasing the number of days from 18 to 36. In addition, during the course of that discussion, there was discussion about the proximity of mobile food facilities or food trucks that come into a shopping center maybe during a special event, and if they were operating next to a fixed business, a brick and mortar business that's selling the same products, say it was a Mexican serving food truck next to Jose's Mexican Food, would there need to be any sort of a separation between that business and the food truck? And the discussion, I think, at the time was within the plaza or adjacent to the plaza. What we went back and we looked at was what an appropriate buffer would be. And so within the temporary use permit section of our code, we introduced a buffer of 200 feet. We looked at the size of our centers, and we felt that a 200-foot buffer would be an adequate dimension between the established business and the food facility, or in that case, actually, it could be selling any other type products that might be sold in that business. And so that's what the other language in that municipal code amendment is doing. In addition to that, there was discussion about mobile vending just in general throughout the city, and the interest to also protect the brick and mortar businesses. So within those changes I just mentioned are in Title IX, which is the planning and zoning requirements in our municipal code. And then the mobile food or mobile vending requirements are covered in Title 12 of our municipal code as well. So we introduced this idea of a 200-foot buffer by introducing a new section in Title 12 that simply states that merchandise sales, restrictions for merchandise sales, was limited to that 200-foot buffer. So you'll find in our recommended ordinance that there's also that buffer just citywide. And those buffers can be reduced if a mobile food vendor is able to go to a business owner and get their permission. So we wrote some language in both Title IX and in Title 12 that says that restriction applies unless the mobile food vendor is able to get approval from the established business. The other thing that was discussed was mobile food vending within parks. And the mobile food vending within parks is not addressed as an ordinance, but it's a policy through our Parks and Community Services Department. And so policy 8.1 has been amended to include provisions that are specifically allowing food trucks to roam in our parks at the normal hours of the day. I believe it was 8 to 10 p.m., 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And so that was introduced at the request of the council. So we're asking you this evening to approve those ordinance changes to Title IX and Title 12, and then to adopt the modified policy 8.1. If I can address the speaker's question real quickly. Sure. The first question that was asked was, where can a resident or a business file a complaint related to a mobile food facility? The answer is you can call the Community Development Department at the city, and we will help you direct your call to the appropriate location.
Can you give out the phone number, Rick? Or if you...
I can read it off. 951-413-3000 will get you to the city line, and they can direct you to the Community Development Department, or the 951-413-3206 will get you to the Planning Department. We can direct you. The request was, where can a resident or business file a complaint? I said call that department. The nature of the complaint, if it's related to business license, we could direct you to the business license staff. If it's environmental health, we may have to direct you to the county. If it's something violating the ordinance in the distance, we'll direct you someplace in code enforcement or in community development. But I think the safe bet is just to call the Community Development Department and let us get you to the right location. The second question was, how many of these mobile food facilities are going to be allowed to be next to each other within 200 feet of the business or the park? The answer is the requirements speak for themselves. So if a person comes in, establishes themselves as a business and has all the appropriate approvals, there is no necessarily a limit on the total number. It's just a requirement of that mobile food facility to get the appropriate approvals, the business license, and the permissions to do so. Third question was, how many mobile food facilities can ride around in the parks and our facilities? The policy 8.1 does not have a limitation. So again, so long as the mobile food facility follows all the requirements within that policy, gets all the appropriate approvals and business license to operate, and is operating within the hours that we're allowing, then there's no restriction necessary on how many can be there at any given time. Question number 4 was, are the mobile food facilities allowed to visit other large businesses and hospitals and do business? The answer is yes. That's not addressed in the modifications that we have before you tonight. That's simply just allowed by our mobile vending requirements. They would have to secure a mobile vending permit through the county, get the environmental health approval. They'd have to get their route approved. If they're going to stop at any of those businesses, they have to get the permission from those businesses to stop at those locations. If they're going to stop at those locations, it should be for less than an hour. If they want to stop there for longer than an hour, then they'll also have to get approval for portable restroom facilities. Those are all the requirements that they're going to have to go through with the county. So if they go through all those steps, they can roam around and do business in the city at any of our businesses. And then with regard to cleaning up and providing a garbage can, and I think that was just a comment, but the requirement would be that would be good business practice, and I think that hopefully they're bringing their own trash cans. Thank you very much. The recommendation before you again is a recommendation to introduce the reading of the ordinance. This will be the first reading to make the changes to Title 5 and Title 9 and Title 12. And then we're also asking you to adopt the resolution to approve the amendment modification to policy 8.1. I'm available to answer questions. The city attorney, if I've missed anything, can interject, and Mel Alonzo from our Community Services Department is here and can answer questions with regard to the policy 8.1 in the parks.
Quick question, Rick. And as far as prior to issuing the business license, when the city issues the business license, they make sure that they have the health permit? Is that still standard practice?
Yes.
Okay. Press your button if you have any questions. Oh, it doesn't work? Yeah, it does. There it goes. Okay, Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes, I just have a couple questions if you could bear with me here. One of them I was going to ask, do these mobile food facilities require this food safety approval, from the county, which the answer is a yes. Okay. The next question is, the mobile food facilities, once they have all the permits and everything, are they required to submit a route? I think it's either daily or weekly to say, okay, this is where we're going to be throughout are they required to do that?
Yes.
They are required?
In the route, they're also supposed to identify the stop locations and the estimated time or expected time for the stops.
Okay. Thank you. And then if we can also, Rafael, thank you for that point about the trash cans. If we can put that in there somewhere to require some kind of trash can, and also to require that they dispose of that trash in an appropriate fashion, that they don't just go to some dumpster in the shopping center there and get rid of that trash.
Yeah, if I could chime in here, Councilmember Cabrera. Yes, they would be responsible to clean up all of their mess, even when they're in the parks. If I'm not mistaken, they're required to clean. Basically, whatever they pack in, they have to pack out. I wanted to comment on the other item about the food truck routes. Those are for the trucks that are just going to specific sites to serve, like the hospital or Amazon or some kind of use like that. Just want to make that clarification that that's what the routes are for the county. Okay.
Thank you. And then also, this would be in the future, but I think depending on the participation, how many mobile food facilities we do give permits to and actually come here and operate in our city, maybe sometime in the future we could look into putting a limit on how many food trucks are in, within or outside of 200 feet of shopping center or a restaurant. So as of right now, I think we're okay because we're trying to get them into our city, and maybe in the future we could look into putting a limit on those. Thank you.
Councilor Gaiba, you have any questions?
No, I don't. I think it makes perfect sense.
Okay. We'll go ahead and go to public comments. Madam Clerk?
None.
Okay. All right, we'll go to council deliberation. All right, I'll close the deliberation. Entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, motion by Mayor Pro Tem Baca, second by Councilmember Cabrera. Please vote. Voice vote.
Councilmember Gaiba?
Yes.
Councilmember Marquez?
Yes.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca?
Yes.
Mayor Gutierrez?
Yes.
Motion passes 5 ayes.
Oh, City Attorney?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. Just for staff and for the record, the motion included all of the recommendations that were before the council.
Yes,
Thank
was
you.
the ordinance and the policy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And it passes 5-0. Okay.
And Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
I have to depart from the meeting.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for participating.
You're very welcome. Take care. Bye-bye.
We have reports, City Council reports on regional activities. Did you have a question? Okay, so we have March Joint Powers Commission, Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the March Joint Powers Commission on February the 28th. In that meeting, the commission approved an amendment to lease with the U.S. Vets Initiative, and the amendment allows U.S. Vets time to transition several veterans to alternative housing because they are not eligible for entry to the new permanent facility. Thank you.
Okay, we also have Mayor Pro Tem Baca for Riverside County Transportation Commission.
Okay, thank you. RCTC continues to focus on rail safety using the Operation Lifesaver program. With the 91 Paris Valley line now operating and more rail connectivity on the way, it's important to spread the word about rail safety. Some reminders to keep you safe around the rail. Only cross railroad tracks at a designated public crossing. Railroad property is private property. It is illegal to be there unless you are at a designated public crossing. It can take a mile or more for a train to stop. Trains overhang the tracks at least 3 feet in both directions. Be aware that freight trains do not always follow set schedules. Lastly, never walk or drive around lowered gates at a crossing, and do not cross tracks until the lights have stopped flashing. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, you're welcome. We have Riverside Transit Agency, Councilmember Marquez.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Well, RTA is going to be redressing the bus shelters here in Moreno Valley. There's approximately 24 of them. So they'll be out there spraying them down, painting them. You're going to see them. They're going to be sprucing them up. They're going to be replacing the old signs with new signs. So look at that in the very, very near future here in Moreno Valley. In addition, RTA's ridership during the 2018 has a positive outlook. Total boarding, 655,600 rode the bus, a 4% increase compared to the same month a year ago. The increase is partially due to the strong ridership on the new commuter link, Route 200, which serves Disneyland. That's been a great success. And has a 14% increase in ridership. Also, the other commuter link express routes that go down to LA, other parts of Orange County, that's up also in ridership. What's contributing And everybody knows as soon as gas prices go up, people want to take public transportation. So as gas prices go up, the ridership goes up, good weather, nice buses, and the college students are using their U-Pass or Gold Passes to ride on these programs. So ridership totally is very, very positive right now for RTA. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. We have items covered at the WRCOG on March 5th, 2018 include the following. The Regional Cancer Treatment Task Force mission, so they talked about, includes the promotion of existing regional cancer care resources and the identification of resource barriers and gaps. The Beyond Fund program, round one, they also talked about provided $153,000 to the city of Moreno Valley. And we discussed that as well before. And that included items for the water station installation, material supplies for safe routes to school events, replacement of 38 computers at the Employment Resource Center, and bike rack installation. The round two provides $161,000 for active transportation projects such as the installation of bicycle and pedestrian facilities from Bay Avenue to Cottonwood, and we've approved that already. Community engagement projects such as the community cleanup event and enhanced quality of life efforts, including a Healthy Moreno Valley student campaign. That concludes my report for the WRCOG. We now have a city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. I'd like to start with addressing a couple of the public comments tonight. One speaker tonight projected a decrease in Planning Commission activity. From your staff's perspective, economic development in our community is at an all-time high and will continue to grow. And so we believe that Mike Lee, Rick Sansemeyer, and their teams will continue to have plenty of projects to keep your planning commissioners quite busy and engaged. Another speaker tonight shared her concerns about safety of students traveling to schools. Our public works staff will contact Ms. Sanchez to talk with her about her concerns. And in addition to the $1.4 million contract that you approved this evening for the Safe Routes to School program, your staff is also looking at potential options to direct CDBG funding to qualifying projects that could further enhance pedestrian safety in our community. Another item, as city staff, we are so excited that Moreno Valley has been named a champion city by Bloomberg Philanthropies. With hundreds of cities around the nation vying for these grant awards, it's wonderful that an international organization like Bloomberg would recognize the creativity, the ingenuity behind Moreno Valley's proposal to help generations of local families prosper by solving that earn versus learn dilemma. Special thanks to Mayor Gutierrez for bringing this concept to us from his active participation with leaders of other large cities at the United States Conference of Mayors. This morning, I had the distinct pleasure of visiting with the Moreno Valley Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We talked about the unprecedented level of success being achieved under this City Council's bold leadership. Some of the examples, some of the highlights included, we talked about that more than 14,000 jobs have been created in this community over the last 4 years. More than 8.4 million square feet of industrial space have been absorbed in Moreno Valley in the last 2 years. The World Logistics Center project is briskly moving forward. Home values here are climbing. The average home value in our community is now approaching $325,000. And finally, in what may be perhaps one of the most meaningful measures to our residents, our average annual household income has now grown to nearly $75,000. That means things are getting better very quickly for our families, and those income levels really help us attract the kinds of jobs and shopping, dining options that our community so richly deserves. Moreno Valley truly is the economic engine of our inland region, and this council's leadership and vision are instrumental in our record-setting growth. And second to the last item I have for you, as City Hall visitors have seen, our Moreno Valley utility is expanding its solar power generation capability by constructing panels right here in our parking lot at City Hall. I'm pleased to report that the project is moving ahead on schedule and would like to thank local residents, businesses, the council, and our employees for their patience while these structures go up. The work should be wrapped up within the next 60 days. Last item, I'd just like to remind residents to place this year's Springtastic Festival and Egg Hunt on their calendars for March 31st. The event will be held at Sunnymead Park, and the fun will begin promptly at 9 a.m., and more details are available on the city's website. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. We have a City Attorney's report.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. Very briefly, tough act to follow, but
I was about to say that yours is going to be hard to follow his.
I know.
I mean, he says it so well.
Our office has been working hard, both with Finance Department and with Community Development, getting ready the two ordinances for your review on the 20th pertaining to commercial cannabis activity in the city, as well as the ballot measure. So we're in the process of putting all that together, and that at least the two ordinances, rewrite of Title V and the new additions to Title IX, will be before you, I believe, on the 20th. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll have now that brings us to reports and comments from council members who did not speak earlier. So we'll start with Councilmember Marquez. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, not much going on, other than I'll be leaving to Washington, D.C. excuse me, this Friday. I'll be representing Riverside County, Moreno Valley, in the National League of Cities conference there. And I hope to come back with some good ideas and also maybe some extra money. I'll be meeting with a couple of our congressmen out there, and let's see if we can push them for some maybe road money to repair more of our roads. I'm looking forward to that, and I thought you were going to go with me. What happened?
Yeah, it didn't happen.
Okay. Thought I was going to have a companion over here, but I guess not. Next thing I have was I attended a 100th birthday party for a resident of Moreno Valley, and I believe the mayor was there. I missed you as you were walking out. I walked in. 100. She was, let me see, God, 100 years ago. 1918. And this lady knew what was going on. She had it up here. And I walked in and I congratulated her. And first thing she said is, "Who are you?" I told her where I was. She goes, "Oh, thank you for coming to my birthday party. I've never had somebody like you come." And she just, lit up. And then she says that she hopes to see me in the next couple of years too. So I told her, well, if you're 100 years old, you can go to 105. Her daughter was there and said, you know what made her live this long? No problems, no worries, no trauma in her life. She used to tell her children, you know what? You're old enough to take care of your own problems. Don't come and bother me. That's what she said. She says that's 100 years old, and she'll continue. And her daughter says she continues telling us that, you're old enough to take care of your own problems. Don't bother me. So with that being said, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things here. I do want to address the road repairs and the slurry sealing. They're two separate things, the arterial repairs and then the slurry sealing. The slurry seal, we had those meetings months ago. We selected the streets that we were going to go around and maintain with the slurry. And those are evenly distributed throughout the city, so you should be seeing those pretty soon. And we're hoping for hopefully the next round of money that we get from the state later this year. We can expand that program and even fix more arterials, because if I remember correctly, in the staff report is about $60 million worth of road repairs that we need in the city.
600.
Or 600 million. So, I mean, 1.2 million is better than nothing. And it's a lot of road repairs that we need to get done in the city, but we're working on it. So the sooner we take care of those issues, the better. And we're starting off with the roads that are used the most and in the worst condition. So we're looking at a lot of different factors there. Next, I just want to go through a few things that we've been able to accomplish and that are going to take place this year. As a city council, as a staff, working together, sitting at the table, planning things out and making things happen. Skate park going in at Community Park later this year. Replacement of the turf at Community Park as well. The mall has new ownership. Thank you to economic development and everyone who was helpful in getting the new owners here. It looks like they're going to be doing a lot of things there at the mall. The Homeless to Work initiative, which is going very, very well, helping a lot of people. And a lot of cities around are really inspired by the program, and they're starting to replicate that. So also the Food Truck Festival that we're scheduling for this summer in conjunction with the Mobile Movies, Mobile Rocks, and that goes hand in hand with what we approved tonight. The Art Walks, we're scheduling one for June 2nd. So we're trying to partner with the school district, with local art galleries, to have an event where the community could come out, the students could be showcased. So we're aiming for a chalk art festival where the students can compete, come out and draw on the parking lot and have live music, pet adoptions. So I do want to thank Parks and Rec, Shanna Palau as well. She's not here right now, but also Richard Archer from the Art Gallery. Thank you to all of you. The Latin Film Festival, it looks like that's coming back again this year. That's a big deal. That's a really big deal. For the second time ever, we're going to have an art festival here in Moreno Valley. So we'll keep you updated on that. Community Garden is another thing that we're working on right now. So I'll be working with staff to make that happen. A lot of different partners here in the area have expressed interest in partnering us in this endeavor. So we're moving forward with that, and I'll keep you updated as well. The Mayor's Challenge, I'm glad that we were able to make that happen. And thank you to the mayor and the rest of the council members who assisted and staff as well. I recall meeting actually right out here in the conference room, sitting down at the table. Marshall was there, Pat, you were there, a couple other, I think Mike, you were there, and a couple other folks, and also our colleagues over at the college, Dr. Steinbach, also Dr. Judy White, Dr. Jones, everyone who sat down at the table, we broke bread, and we talked about this application. We submitted it, and we won the first round. Now we're aiming for that $1 million grant. If we can get that, imagine how many students we can help, how many students' tuition we can pay for. That's going to be a big deal in helping education here in Moreno Valley. So we're working hard on that one. Please remember about the food bank that takes place over on Redlands Boulevard, 13793 Redlands Boulevard, every first and third Saturday. We have an abundance of food. If you know anyone who needs food, please send them our way. We don't require anything but just some kind of identification, and that's it. There's no restrictions on income or anything. So we'll be there the first and third Saturdays every month, and we're up to feeding 5,000 people every Saturday now. So we're being blessed. And lastly, I just want to kind of share something that I've been really refreshed about lately is just being generous, to those around us and to helping everyone around us, and to not let our ego overtake our ability to help people around us. If you can open the door for an elder person, or if someone drops something, be the first one to go and pick it up. Don't wait for someone else to do it. You take action, take that initiative and do it. And just be that shepherd for the sheep who need our help out there. Be that leader, be that person who makes things happen, and stand up in your community and be a role model, be an example for those who are around you. And for all of us here, every day we might get criticized, but just look at it as constructive criticism. And for anyone who does want to, speak in public and give your public comments, or call us directly, email us, if there are issues, we want to hear those. but also help us, provide some kind of solutions. You know, if you have, if you see a problem, help us to fix that problem. That'll go a really long way. So just want to remind everyone, you know, to be generous to everyone around you, help others, and, you know, have that genuine love and passion for what we do, because we're changing people's lives all over the world. So thank you.
Okay, we have Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
Thank you, Mayor. Last week, I attended the 6th Annual Moreno Valley Unified School District's Reading Festival. It was great. Thank you, Mayor, for your wonderful speech. And we continue to partner with the school district to engage our community and make them involved and provide opportunities for families to come out with their children. I also attended the Wake Up Moreno Valley, representing the city and giving them an update on our ongoing successes. And it's really inspirational to see our staff there so that I can show them off and I can talk about the great job that each and all of us are doing to make Moreno Valley the best city ever. I attended the 2018 Moreno Valley Police Department Volunteer Appreciation Dinner with our chief, Kurlowitz, and it's just astounding how many people and the hours they put in to volunteer for our city. And it's because they love the city so much that they go over and beyond the call of duty. And finally, I attended the Adelante breakfast this morning, and our guest speaker was our city manager, Tom DeSantis, and he had that audience in awe with all the things that are going on in our city, starting with economic development, housing, jobs, luring businesses into the community. Thank you, Tom. You did an absolutely fantastic job. And anytime that we're at either the regular chamber or the Hispanic chamber meetings and we show our videos and highlight what we're doing, you know, people are astounded at the wonderful, wonderful job that you as a team, the upper echelon, but also our worker bees that are out there every single day working hard to make Moreno Valley the best city. And I know that there's a lot of envy around the region because we're just so great, you know, so continue to do a good job and we will be here to support you. Thank you.
Thank you, and I just wanted to echo what Mayor Pro Tem Baca also mentioned as far as the Moreno Valley Police Department volunteers. They do an amazing job. I was able to attend that celebration as well with the police chief, and it was just amazing to hear the stories from a lot of the volunteers after the event and some of the things that they actually do for the police department. And again, they're volunteering, they're not getting paid for it. So one day, you know, I'd like to do something like that for our volunteers as well, and the Moreno Valley, obviously continue with the volunteers with the Moreno Valley Police Department to celebrate with them. I also attended a healthy engagement festival with the Moreno Valley Unified School District, where they actually had multiple high schools showing off innovative ways to be healthy. And so it was really a nice event to really hear from the students about some of the cool things that are out there and some things that we can probably be doing in the city as well. I also like to recognize my appointees as well. I believe we have one. Chris Melendres, is he here? If you could please stand, okay? And we can give him a round of applause, okay? Okay. And he is was newly appointed to the Parks, Rec and Trails Board. Okay, thank you. We also have Chaz Hunter, but she's not here. I don't see her in the audience as well. But she was really excited to be appointed to the board and really get things going with the Arts Commission. I also want to mention that, you know, Councilmember Cabrera and I, you know, and sometimes he may not say it, but it's true. We have been championing the arterial streets and really doing something with our streets. We've noticed from many residents coming up to us and telling us the streets are just in disrepair. And so that's why sometimes we challenge you, you know, to really think outside the box and, okay, let's allocate a little bit more funds to this. And one of the things that I really like about this plan is that we're not repaving the full streets or anything like that. We're doing segments. So just the areas that really, really need it. I also want to thank the staff as well for their work with the food truck ordinance as well. I know that was in the beginning a little challenge, but hey, you know, we tackled the challenges. So I'd like to thank you for that as well. Again, we're thinking outside the box here, and we're allowing different groups to come into the city and, you know, just to put our city on the map, you know. I also want to say that I am thrilled, excited. I was so excited when I heard that Moreno Valley became a champion city with the Bloomberg grant. I mean, this is a historic moment for the city of Moreno Valley. I mean, this is where we competed with hundreds of cities, large cities, and we were selected. We were one of the 35 champion cities selected in the Bloomberg grant for the Earn While You Learn initiative. So this is something that is going to actually help the college students. It's going to reduce the barriers for them, especially the students that are going for those career technical education programs. They'll be able to go to those career technical education programs and earn a stipend while they're doing that. I also, so I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about our economic development team, Mike Lee, and everything that we're going to be doing there with this initiative as well. On March 29th at 6 p.m., I'll be having a citywide mayor's telephone town hall at 6 p.m. If you would like to participate, just go to moval.org/telephone town hall. Again, moval.org/telephone town hall, and ask your question, concern, anything that you'd like to say. I'll be there to answer those questions. And I also like to mention that we have a food bank as well going on, part of the CDBG funds that go to that as well, over by north side of the freeway, where the old Toys R Us is there as well. So if you know anybody, you can go to two food banks, one over in the east end and one on the north end of town. And this is a food bank that the city also helps fund too, and we're doing a lot of great things in the city. Thank you so much. We'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting at 7:29 p.m.